I am the best woman wrestler in the world.
They say you never forget your first love, and I know that's true because my first love is wrestling.
Beth wanted to be a wrestler. That's why she joined the boys' wrestling team. This was what she wanted to do.
I wanted to work for WWE. I felt I deserved that. I felt I earned that. But I was told no a lot of times. I had to learn to accept myself for who I was.
The power of the Glamazon!
She showed women that it's okay to wrestle. It's okay to be strong.
Embrace what makes you different and be accepting of what makes others different. Because that is how dreams become reality.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Icons Revisited. We are just coming off Icons, Beth Phoenix, Matt Camp, and Ryan Popola. And Ryan, we're going to talk to some great guests, but I loved this episode so much because I think it really put into perspective not only Beth's career, but what she meant to the women's division and the evolution as a whole.
Her impact is what I took away, right? Like, impactful in the ring, but every single person who was interviewed for this, and I'm sure every single person we're going to talk to here now, she just left such a lasting impact on everybody. I'm excited to get more in depth on those connections.
We will be joined by 2021 WWE Hall of Fame inductee Molly Holly, along with WWE legend Mickie James. We will hear from someone who was certainly involved in the early stages of Beth Phoenix's WWE career, Al Snow. But right now, let's talk to one of the newest Raw superstars and someone who has a lot of great stories and connections with Beth Phoenix. Let's talk to Rhea Ripley. Hey, Rhea, what's going on?
Hey, Rhea.
Hey, guys. Not much. How are you
Thanks.
guys doing?
Glad to have you here. Welcome to Icons Revisited, Beth Phoenix, a very big episode that we saw you were a part of. Always a pleasure to have you on. First and foremost, what did Beth Phoenix mean to you as a young and impressionable fan who had, the aspirations of being a future pro wrestler?
It sort of just meant that I had a chance. Obviously, I don't look like everyone else. Like, I've always been somewhat built and had somewhat, like, a little bit of muscle on me. I've always been really, really athletic. And a lot of the women, they were like these nice, petite, like, looking girls. And I wasn't that. And I always got called out on that in school as well. So, like, that really, like, impacted me as a kid. But then seeing Beth Phoenix out there doing what she does, just throwing chicks around, like, I absolutely love that. And I really, like, gravitated towards her because all of her muscle and just, like, how she is and what she stands for pretty much. And I just wanted to be like her.
Yeah. And Rhea, that speaks to like the overall influence Beth had on you, which is obviously enormous, and that's touched on in the doc several times. Despite your age, though, you're such a student of the game. Are there aspects of Beth's in-ring style that you've kind of carried over to yours?
I've tried. I've definitely, like, tried to be somewhat like her, but I got to remember that, like, I'm myself as well, and I got to follow my own path. So even though, like, I still do the strong woman style like she used to, where she used to just pick up women and just throw them around with no care in the world, and I try and bring that out in me. But as for, like, things that she did, like, I'm still trying to find my own person. I don't want to be like a copycat. I want to be myself, but I just find inspiration in Beth Phoenix.
Yeah.
So something you said in the episode, the quote is, she sort of wrestles like a dude. And I like that. So early on, as you're coming up and you're going through training and trying to figure out what you're going to be, did that make an immediate influence on your style?
Yeah, it definitely did. Growing up and pretty much just pursuing wrestling at such a young age, because I started when I was 16, I pretty much wrestled with dudes only. I was normally the only female at training. Sometimes there'd be, like, a couple, but, like, they wouldn't go as hard as what I did. And I find it really funny because I say that about Beth, but then I hear people saying that about me as well. Like, even my partner, he's like, whenever he watches me wrestle, he's like, dude, you just wrestle so much like a dude. It's crazy. And I think because I train with all men, I think I just picked up on a few things that they do, and I can't really help it. It's just, I'm pretty much my coaches from Australia. Like, I do exactly the same as what they do, like, picture.
And she's talked about that a lot. There's a story Xavier Woods told on a New Day podcast recently where she was coming back from injury, and she was in there with him, and at one point she said, enough of this. You gotta pick this up, And he was just, I'm trying to be nice, but I think there's something to that, and the wrestle's like a dude thing or whatever. And you said like you love it, but what about I think you said lifting people up and all that, but what about specifically how she wrestled stood out to you compared to maybe the other women? Was it just the power? Was there more to that?
It was the power and just like her strength on the inside. Like I've always been a rough kid. I've always played like every sport that I could. I've always been that kid that takes others down in like the sport that I'm doing. Like I love being the rough one pretty much. Like I'll be the enforcer if I have to. And that's pretty much what Beth was in the ring. Like she really stood out to me because she was just so different. She didn't do any high flying moves, like nothing like that. She honestly just picked people up and threw them and she didn't care. And that's just sort of like what I used to do in my other sports and even just at school, which is pretty bad to say now that I think about it. But that's just how I was. That's the sort of person that I am, and it's never.
I think
stopped.
It's worked out. We
respect it. We have no issues with it here at Icons Revisited. But Rhea, you're obviously Beth is long tenured Hall of Famer, and you've now been in the WWE universe for several years now. Do you remember your first in-person interactions with her?
Yeah, so my first like proper interactions with her, I think I had a couple quite quick conversations, but the first one was the second Mae Young Classic. She was just walking around. I had a few conversations with her, and she was really, really cool and down to earth, which I wasn't expecting because like being the new person, like you don't really know how others act and how others are. Like I'm always really skeptical, but she was so lovely, and we had a few conversations about like people were like body shaming and like just staying true to yourself and how we should be happy with how we are. This is how we're born and this is what like how we're made pretty much. So I remember them in depth, like just like heart to heart conversations. One of my favorite ones was probably like when we did the face to face at the second Mae Young Classic and Tegan pushed me and I revved up and she actually stepped in the middle of us and I was like, oh, I'm so mad, but this is so cool.
That's awesome. That's great. And this could be across the board. Is there any advice she's given you, whether it's in the ring or even like kind of you just touched on a minute ago out of the ring, that really has stuck with you?
Pretty much just to be yourself, be proud of who you are and don't let the haters get to you. That's pretty much all she like constantly says to me because like I do need to remember that sometimes. And I feel like she knows that because she knows how hard it was when she was here doing what I'm doing. So I thank her for that. I really do.
And there's the flip side of that because it's covered and she talks about this, the need she felt to conform, to change, to conform. Did you ever find yourself doing the same to get noticed, even if that's not what you were?
Yeah, definitely. I went through a few stages where like I wanted to change myself. Even with the first Mae Young Classic, I was listening to everyone and doing what they wanted me to do, and I wasn't my true self. I've always struggled with body image. I'm only now just accepting who I am and really embracing it. So yeah, it's hard sometimes, but now I'm good now. I can take the hate. I don't care.
And to follow up on that, though, Beth says in the doc, quote, body image was going to be a challenge for me. And I think that's what you're touching on there and probably something that you two have bonded over. But to your point, you've really embraced that and you're very vocal about it on social these days and really have embraced it for everything that it is. How much do you find empowerment now in being a role model for others who might be dealing with a similar circumstance?
Oh, man, it's amazing. I never knew how far one comment or one post could go. Until I came here. Honestly, like I get messages every day of people saying like, thank you so much. You've made me love myself again. And that's insane to me. Like I used to look up to people that did the same thing and I can't like, it's sort of weird to me that I am doing the same thing for other people, but it's so amazing at the same time. I just feel like I'm just a normal human, like a little girl from South Australia, but to others, like I'm actually a role model and that's amazing. It's so humbling and so cool. Like even just getting messages saying like, thank you, you've made me embrace myself and I'm going to cut my hair. Like just those little things. I'm like, that's so cool because like normally women with short hair, they get judged. We get called men. Women with muscles, we get called men. And I'm finally like helping everyone embrace themselves, which is super dope.
That's awesome that you do that. And it's a trickle down effect because it's conversations you had with Beth and she had those same things going, why are people talking to me? But that's because of who she is and who you are. So it's cool that it all trickles down and everybody gets that advice. Now, other than yourself, it's pretty apparent that Beth has meant a lot to many of our superstars across all of WWE. But during your time in NXT, what kind of influence did she have on the brand?
Oh man, a lot. Just having her there was amazing, because like you could just go up and talk to her and find out so much about like how it used to be and get so much information out of her. And she's just like so welcoming to that as well. Like she'll talk to anyone, which is great. I feel like it's awesome having another woman on commentary. That's another thing as well. Like it's so nice to hear a woman's voice for once. Being a woman myself, like knowing that we're breaking these boundaries, it's incredible. And seeing Beth break more every single day and just seeing her work and work and work and succeed, it's incredible.
She's a super cool example just across the board in everything she does.
Yes.
And Rhea, you were in the building with us for Royal Rumble last year, 2020. And Beth's performance, I honestly think you can call it instantly legendary in the Royal Rumble match. I mean, it's obviously touched on the last stage of the Icons documentary. What was going through your mind watching that, especially at this stage in her career where she's already broken so many boundaries, and just the overall gravity of that performance for you specifically?
The only thing that was really going through my head is like, damn, she's a badass.
Yes.
She's so cool. Like I can't put over how cool she is. She's just the coolest person to me. Seeing her go out there and like be out of the ring for so long and then go in there and absolutely smash it. Like it was insane. I was having so much fun watching her. I remember sitting there with you guys and I just kept like eating because I was so entertained. I kept eating those things that were on the table and I was like, yes, it's so cool. And I was like, oh, I need to stop eating. But like just watching her was so like, it took all my attention. I didn't even know what I was doing with my body at that point. I was just like focused on her and seeing her crack her head open and like keep going and just look even more like a badass. Like I didn't think that was possible, but it was. Like she's just the coolest human ever.
So a big part of that is that she said this more than a few times, but says it in this episode is she always stays ready. She feels like she should always be ready. She's had about 10 matches or so in the last few years. However, you have not been part of any of those. So as cool as she is to you, as inspirational as she is to you, are you holding out hope that you two can step in the ring together at one point?
Definitely. That would definitely be one of my dream matches. I would love to step in the ring with Beth Phoenix, and I would have my work cut out for me for sure, because I follow her on Instagram, Twitter, all that, and I see all her posts, and like I can't put over how strong she is and how athletic she is. So I would definitely have to train hard for that match, like harder than I am now. But I hope that one day that could happen. We'll see. WWE, please.
We want to see it.
It's out there. Now everybody knows that we all want it. I'm sure she wants it too. So let's hope that happens at some point down the road. Rhea, we want to thank you so much for joining us today. And coming up, let's check out what Beth's former trainer, Al Snow, had to say about Beth early on in her professional wrestling career.
I met Beth when I came to OVW to be the developmental trainer for WWE. Beth had come down here to Louisville, Kentucky on her own. She wasn't under a contract or anything. You know, she was confident enough and believed enough in herself to take that risk, take that chance, relocated to Louisville, Kentucky. And that risk, that opportunity paid off. Beth's experience as a female amateur wrestler, it did help her physically as far as technique was in the ring, but I think where the asset was for her was that it helped her mentally. She knew that she had to push herself and had to work hard to get what she wanted to get, and she wasn't afraid to do it. Between Tommy Dreamer and I, we both pushed really hard for her to be given a contract, a developmental contract. Would I be surprised by what Beth has achieved and what she's accomplished? Not at all. Beth was always a person that I knew that I could rely on and go to. Prime example of that was for OVW during that, back in those days, how many of the girls were basically the saving grace for the television show. And Beth was definitely one of those. You know, we spent months building up a story between her and Katie Lee Burchill. And I could be wrong, and hey, it wouldn't surprise me. It's not the first time that's happened, but I honestly think that was the very first time that two women had a ladder match in professional wrestling anywhere. They were, long before people finally had decided to wake up and realize that, women were just as much of a draw and an attraction as men were and could be used in exactly the same fashion. Beth was leading the way. So to see Beth and what she's accomplished and what she's done is absolutely no surprise to me.
I get ready for my interview after the whole day of waiting in this big green room. I walk in the doors and there's Al Snow and MTV judges.
Okay, Beth, tell us why you're here today.
I'm here because I want to be the next WWE superstar. I've wanted to be involved with the WWE since I was a very little girl. Definitely looked up to the superstars as heroes, and I want to be a hero myself.
They're like, well, we want you to cut a promo. Just boom, go. And I took a deep breath and I closed my eyes.
I got an ace up my sleeve. That's right, Molly Holly. I've been studying. I've got a collection of Al Snow's wrestling tapes, and I've been carefully studying them week after week, hour after hour, all hours of the night. And after falling asleep several times, I think I got down that technical move perfectly. So Molly, ring to the ring.
I just took a risk. Either they absolutely loved me, or I'm gonna get security dragging me out of here.
Two people who are certainly a big part of the career of Hall of Famer Beth Phoenix are joining us now on Icons Revisited. 2021 WWE Hall of Fame inductee Molly Holly and WWE legend Mickie James are with us. Thank you for being with us, ladies.
Welcome in, ladies.
Thank you. So excited to be here. Thank you.
A lot to get into here, but Beth says something in this episode. She cites Bret Hart and Owen Hart at WrestleMania 10 as the time she made the transition from being just a fan to the time she really wanted to become a wrestler. So, Molly, I'll start with you. Did you have that specific moment when you said, that's what I want to do?
Well, I hate to admit it, but I went a good 10 years without actively watching wrestling when I went to an independent show, and everyone looked like they were having so much fun. And I wasn't sure how I fit into it, but then somebody told me about Rey Mysterio. And so I went to their house because I didn't have cable, or I don't even know if I had a TV. And they showed me Rey Mysterio, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do whatever he's doing.
Mickie, same question to you. Was there that moment that really inspired you to get into all this?
It was definitely the Attitude Era for me. I think that I was a fan growing up watching it, and then I fell I didn't watch it for years. I mean, it was randomly maybe, but I didn't watch it for a long time. And then the Attitude Era was when it kicked back in, and my fandom kicked right back in so hard. And I was like, I want to do this. This is so cool.
Right
like,
on.
this is so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And Mickie, in the documentary, there's this newspaper clipping that's shown of her body slamming you in a match from Pittsburgh. That's even before you guys were in OVW. For those who may not know, when did you first actually connect with Beth?
Gosh, that was I think that was Beth's first actual match, like wrestling match or one-up.
Wow.
That must have been early 2000s, I want to say. If I can't even remember like the exact day, like put me on the spot, but yeah, that was before she moved down. She had just started wrestling and crossing over from like collegiate style and stuff. And yeah.
And then you two were connected for so many years after that, which is so amazing.
Crazy. That's crazy because, you come full circle, and that was one of her first matches, but then to come full circle and then come to Louisville and see her later down the road. And then even after we came back up on TV, it's just our careers have kind of intertwined ever since.
Yeah. And we go a little further down that path, Molly. There's a great story that Beth tells about, and you talk about how Beth got you her VHS tape at an Access signing, which you immediately watched with Al Snow. Did you know anything about her before she handed you that tape?
No, I could tell that she was very sincere, very passionate. And if someone goes through the effort to put their matches on a promo tape and has the courage to hand deliver it, I am definitely the kind of person who's like, I'm going to watch this. And if it was terrible, I probably would not pass it along to anyone else, but it wasn't terrible. And so I'm really glad that she handed it to me.
And Mickey, you get to OVW about a year or so before Beth does. But when Beth gets there, she makes instant waves, instant impressions, and turns a lot of heads. When she got there, were you looking at like her arrival there as something that could be beneficial for everybody, you included, in terms of adding this new element to the women's division there?
I think absolutely. I think because she was so different. And you have to remember, like, she moved herself down to Louisville on her own dime. Like, was working and, you know, waitressing and doing whatever just so she could, that was the sacrifice she made from moving from home down there to train in that system, because that's where she knew she would be able to take it to the next level if she was going to. And so I was so happy to see her arrive, and she definitely made an impact. I mean, I think that she's just, one, she was always an incredible athlete, but also she's poured everything, and she always does, like, into everything that she does. And she just, I was so grateful to see her there, and then to see her shine onward, you know what I mean? Because I really think that it started to make the impression where she really started to bring that Glamazon character to life.
It's cool you could see that, and it's cool, like, once again, the fact that you were involved in so much of part of her career. Now, as part of that OVW training, we learned through both this episode and Beth's Hall of Fame speech that, Molly, it was you who paid for that training. So considering that investment you put in her and her life and her career, did you find yourself keeping a closer eye on her after that?
I wish I could say yes, but I was always, like, every few months checking in, seeing how things are going. So I think whether I would have paid for her training or not, I would have wanted her to succeed. But it was a huge reward to know that everybody loved her work ethic, loved her personality, loved her passion, and, like, that I wasn't the only one, like, cheering her on, you know, like, everyone who meets her just wanted her to succeed, and she did.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, she kind of kept track of all this stuff and everything that she went through with you, and may have given you something.
Yes, I just was in the closet the other day digging through photos, and as like a thank you for what I had done for her. And she gave me this before she was a Hall of Famer, just the fact that she had, like, made it on TV. She gave me this book where she tells kind of like her life story. There's a picture of her as a little girl, and her at wrestling matches that she attended. And also pictures of her in her collegiate wrestling that she did, or the amateur wrestling, and pictures of her on the indie. And it was just kind of like a little story that she told me, and just wrote in each little chapter, I guess, like, how it connected to me and how much that meant to her. And I just thought that was really sweet that she, like, put it into a book.
That's
amazing. That's so cool.
So her too, because the crafting, I can see her in there, like, just like crafting.
And Mickey, to throw it back to you, we've talked about how your and Beth's stories have paralleled so much. Her first match, OVW, and then, as fate would have it, you know, Beth's debut on Raw is involving you. When you found that out, what was your reaction, and just how cool was that? That seems like a very full circle moment for the both of you.
It was a very full circle moment, you think, and I was just so excited for her. It's funny though how that happened, because when you think about it, like, she really didn't get out of the blocks with it, because she got slapped by Victoria, broke her jaw. It was the most gruesome thing I'd ever seen. That kind of moment we were all waiting for and so excited for, and finally she was going to get this chance, and it was, like, kind of taken away so quickly. But at the same time, when you think about it, you're like, would she have come up with this Glamazon, with this incredible character, this personality that like truly embodies everything that she is, and really, like, makes such a iconic impression for herself in the business? Like, it was like bittersweet, wasn't it? It was like,
the evolution's all there, and that's, like you say, sometimes these roads take in a different direction, and sometimes for good. Now, before that though, Molly, we learned about in this episode that the promo that Beth cuts for Tough Enough 3 is about you and wanting to face you, and there's a match that's going to happen at some point. Now, unfortunately, all your connections, you never have a one-on-one match. And at any point in time, was that a possibility? Did you think it would happen? Did it almost happen?
I honestly didn't think it would happen, because I had already felt really complete in my career, and I was already kind of looking for the exit, and she was looking for the entrance. So I felt that our paths probably wouldn't cross in the ring. And then when it turns out that we were able to be in a battle royal together, that was pretty cool. She was the one that eliminated me from the battle royal, and I was really proud of her.
Yeah. I want to stay on that though, Molly, because, you know, there was some very limited interaction in those battle royals. But what do you think a one-on-one matchup between you and Beth would look like?
She would destroy me.
Come on, Molly. Come on.
I mean, no question asked. I mean,
Molly.
she is so talented. That's kind of the thing where I feel like the evolution of women's wrestling, but like the women just get better and better and better. So I feel, you know, proud of my career, but I think that she definitely took things to the next level.
Great, but you're a big part of that as well, of course, the entire women's evolution. Now, Mickey, on the flip side of that, you and Beth were in the ring, like unofficially, more than 200 times on the same side, mostly on opposite sides. We've talked about, you know, you being in that unique position of seeing her entire evolution. But was there a time you can remember when you looked at her and said, oh, she has this figured out? She is an absolute superstar now.
Oh gosh, because I had got a chance to really work with Beth so much, I always loved just telling those stories of like, she was so much bigger than me and she was so impressive. And I really loved to like, you can go out there and have great matches, but you don't always have that like awesome chemistry to the point where you can just feel each other and really know just by their body movements or whatever. And it's just like, we just clicked. I think we just clicked. And so that's where it made sense. You know what I mean? So I had so much fun with her. I always say it was like, it's like, you know, we go out there, Molly knows this. It's like you go out there and you're always like out there with your dance partner and you can only be as good as your dance partner. And when somebody is so good, you just know that it's going to be magic. You know what I mean? And it was just, we were able to tell those stories. It was fun.
Some of those stories are often for titles. And a really impressive stat, you and Beth, Mickey, competed on television pay-per-view a total 9 times for championships, which is a high number. Beth has the advantage 5-4, but you won the most recent one a little over a decade ago. Do you have a favorite of those championship matches? Maybe a favorite pay-per-view match with Beth?
I think that was actually the last championship I won. Thanks for the reminder.
I apologize.
No,
But you beat her right there. That's
You
right.
beat her.
Focus on the positives. Yeah.
No, I will say the most memorable match. Obviously, the championship win in London because it was the first time the championship had changed hands, and it was such a moment that we built to. But my favorite match with Beth, and she knows this, I've said it 1,000 times, is like a live event match that we had in Alaska. And it was like, I remember because it was like negative 40 degrees outside. It was the first time I learned the coffee trick, right? But it was honestly, we went out there, we were just allowed to go out there and wrestle. And it was like, we came back through the curtain and everybody was clapping on their feet. And at that time, you know, it wasn't something that happened a lot for the girls. So I was so like, it was just like that moment. And it wasn't like, it was just the entire locker room from Rick and Hunter and Cena and all these people, like just really appreciating the art of women's wrestling. And just, it felt good. And so that was my favorite match with her ever.
Now, you two have only been in a couple of battle royals together, amazingly, that those paths haven't crossed. But Molly, I'll start with you. Do you ever think about a match with Mickey and what that would look like?
Mickey would destroy me.
Come on, Molly.
Enough of this.
You better quit.
I'm not fan of you.
No. Molly goes rounds for everybody.
No, I feel so not conditioned to, you know, I might get like go jogging or something, but I'm not like very physical. I don't like lift that heavy of weights. And I don't know, I just, whenever someone's like, oh, how would you like to match up with this person or that person? I'm like, it sounds terrible.
Mickey, I'm sure you may have thought about a potential matchup here at any point in your careers, let's say.
I would have always loved to step in the ring with Molly. I got to work out with you prior in my tryouts. Like, she was one of the few people who would take the time to really like talk to you or make you feel comfortable when you showed up. I mean, going to, and obviously it's different now, but those days of like driving however long and going to the arena for Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, and when they would do a Monday, Tuesday, and just sitting by the ringside, terrified and shaking in your boots, like just praying not to say the wrong thing, but to have somebody like Nora who would come up to you and be so genuine and so kind and so giving and always like, well, do you want to work out in the ring? Like, she was one of the only people who did that. Like, so grateful. But we never got a chance to really tangle in the ring, except for she stretched me a few times pre-show. So.
We bring it back to Beth here as we finish up with you two. Molly, I want to start with you. What are your personal lasting memories of Beth and her career and any of the connections you had with her over that time?
Well, I just love her story of someone who loved all aspects of wrestling, whether that's in high school in some competitions, and then being a fan of it, and then taking the steps to really work hard and kind of, I always disliked this phrase, but paying your dues. Like she really did. Like she did all of the really hard work to make it happen. And it just shows that if you really have passion and you dedicate your life to something, and that dreams can come true.
Yeah.
And Mickey, to you, the same thing. Just once again, as we've said, you were connected to every part of Beth's career, but what stands out for you personally?
I think her ability to stay, like, she's always on the forefront, and this just goes to her intelligence of, like, even after going and being the Glamazon and having this incredible career of then stepping back and then going back to school and getting her degree and being an incredible mother, and then coming back and doing commentary and just killing it on commentary. It's like that evolution of just staying, because she loves this business so much and it pours out through her pores, that I can just always see her in some capacity being involved, because she just wants to continue just to lift up that bar of what women are capable to do in this business. And I just love her for it. So.
And both of you have done and continue to do the same. We want to thank Molly Holly and Mickie James for joining us on this Icons Revisited. Thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
What a pleasure it's been to be able to talk about the Hall of Fame career of Beth Phoenix with Rhea Ripley, Al Snow, Mickie James, and Molly Holly, Ryan. A lot of people clearly connected over multiple generations.
Yeah, and what I took away from Icons and all these chats today is that for as ferocious and as intense as Beth Phoenix was in the ring, she is the best person you could possibly meet in your everyday life. And that came through, and also all of her accomplishments that she had in the squared circle.
We want to thank you for joining us on Icons Revisited. Here's a sneak peek at the next Icons.
I approach everything differently.
Oh my God, the elevation! It's
Martial arts, acrobatics, flips and splits.
That's just me. That's the way I am.
As a kid, I felt that pressure of trying to fit in, just like all the kids, but I hated it. I decided, instead of trying to blend in, screw it, I'm gonna be myself. That me became a person of substance that other people could look up to through my accomplishments, through my way of life.
Rob Van Dam making his ECW debut, a well-traveled world-class wrestler.
What you see on camera is pretty much what you see behind the scenes. That's Rob.
You are seriously stressed out.
He got to the top being Rob Van Dam.
What an accomplishment!
Nothing more, nothing less. He did it on his own terms.
Because you guys know my initials are RVD. One of a kind. A whole effing show.